Hi. So when you come over, stay about 15 feet away, just right over there. Come closer. Stay like two squares away. So, yeah, a little bit closer. And then just like hold on to stay there, but just hold on to the handle and let him have some free leash time. Hi. Whoop, that was Chicken. Hit you right on the head. He'll find it. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. So he has had aggression with his owners and also people that have come to visit, but meeting in the house, of course. This is way easier for him to handle. Neutral territory across the street from the house. I'm sitting down. He skipped a meal. I've got some little pieces of chicken, and so I'm assuming that chicken is okay for him to have because I got it from them. So, hey buddy. Good boy. And he has, he's actually from a rescue that, you know, if he goes back to a rescue, sometimes they can't handle a dog that bites and he can't get a home. So that's why we're here to help him, or help them handle him in a way that he doesn't try to bite people anymore. So right now I'm just getting to know him. It's so much better than approaching him, making him nervous. What's good is that the leash is loose and he's not pulling, because that would cause stress in any dog. And he's not barking at me, and he's already accepting little gifts. He's not barking at me and I'm talking a lot. So this is all really good at first, because sometimes it's not so easy. Sometimes the dog doesn't stop barking, doesn't stop trying to pull over and attack me when we meet this way. So this is already a lot better than I've seen some other dogs that have been aggressive with strangers. Look, there's the chicken will keep coming. It'll keep coming. It's the endless source of chicken. Good boy. Good. Good. So if you walked a little closer, let's just walk a little closer, like 2 steps, and stop. Because then he'll be able to come a little closer. We'll just ease him into this new relationship of him and I. Hey bud, there's chicken on the floor. Look at all that. Good boy. Because what I'm going to have you do in a couple more minutes is just hand me the leash, and then we're going to start walking. So the worst thing to do in this situation is to approach the dog. You always have the dog, allow the dog to approach the person, and if you're sending the dog over to meet somebody, you want him to be good with somebody, you always send the dog over. The person is right, like when it's not somebody like me, when it's just a regular person that's never done this before, give them a big piece of something, whether it's a hot dog that sticks out like that, or a piece of cheese, string cheese, or a piece of chicken breast, or whatever you want to use, so that there's no chance of him biting their fingers, and all he does is he approaches them, because if they approach him, he's going to feel like he's in danger. It will put him on guard. So he approaches them, he takes a treat out of their hand, you say come, because you've been practicing the come command, just, you know, with you and he and the two of you, and in your backyard, and, you know, with people that he's comfortable with. So he knows come, and you're going to practice that routine with you know, each other, and so he'll already know how to do it. So you just call him back to come, and you could even ask your friends to come over. Maybe somebody, if you're not having visitors, come over once a week to help you do a greeting routine, and then offer them a drink in exchange for coming over. But he's going to get used to the fact that, oh, when people come over, I meet them this way. I meet them on neutral territory. Right now it's across the street, but you can start doing it at your driveway and closer to your front door. And then, depending on how this goes, because I've never met him before, I'm going to show you how to bring him in the house with somebody and continue it. Hey buddy, right here. And then you can hand the leash to me, because I'm not going to touch him, so therefore, unless he's jumps up and tries to go for my neck, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to be fine, because I'm just the guy that's giving him treats, that's not doing anything that's offensive. And I'll even see, this is what I mean. Hold it like this, but only it would be much bigger, like a hot dog or half a hot dog or a piece of string cheese. Hey buddy, look, chicken, Good. He's taking it out of my hand now. You probably didn't see that. Over here. That's a scary noise. Good boy. So what I'm going to do, because standing up might trigger him, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, hey, look at this. Hey, buddy. Look, throw it over there, then I can stand up. Come on, buddy. Let's go. Let's go for a walk. Good boy. And now we're going to go, actually, why don't we go for a walk this way, because then you can follow me. Come on, bud. Good boy. Hey, here's some more treats. So I have just become the treat guy that's been completely just the guy that comes, shows up to give him gifts. No, no trying to pick him up or touch him or do training. It's way too soon for me to even practice like a sit or a down or anything like that. But the least, I would say, offensive command and the easiest to teach is the come command. Some dogs perceive that as being very dominant, though, because you are still telling them to do something, they do it, and if they don't know you well enough, maybe they'll do it the first few times, but then some dogs like this think, wait a minute, you can't tell me what to do, and then they start getting weird. But let's try it and see what happens, see if I can teach them the come command. So the rules are, of course, when you're practicing the come command, to always call him away from something, or if he looks away, because that's a real life situation. You're never going to need him to come to you when he's sitting there lovingly staring up at you. But you need him to come to you when he's moving away from you, he's paying attention to something else, maybe it's a person, maybe he's running across the street, whatever. You want him to get really used to breaking away from whatever that is, turning his back on it, and running back to you when he hears the come command. So if he won't stop looking at you and you're all by yourself, and there's no distractions, create your own distraction. See this piece of chicken? Come. Good. And assign that word good. Timing is everything. Assign the word good to that behavior and say it the exact moment he takes the food, because there's a lot to tell you, and we can go over this later, but you want to phase the food out as quickly as possible. If you're still giving food for everything 6 months later, it's not going to be very good, because he's only going to do it when he's hungry. But as soon as, for example, as soon as he knows the come command really well and other commands really well, we start phasing the food out, and maybe he gets only a treat once a day for one sit and one down in a difficult situation, or a couple of times. Every 5th time he comes to you, he gets a treat or something like that. That's how you start phasing it out and end up there. And then, maybe 6 months from now, he only gets a treat once a day for coming to you, 1 out of the 20 times you call him. But it keeps him primed, and he'll never forget. Come. See how easy it is? Good. And also, I am more and more, once he realizes what I'm doing, I'm more and more keeping this hand closed, because all of this is geared to someday going off leash. And when there's no leash and there's no treat, and you practice this enough times, he's going to it inputs it like it's a reflex. So he's just going to whirl around and come running back to you, because you've logged in hundreds of repetitions of exactly what you've seen me do here on the sidewalk, on your front yard, in your backyard, in your hallway, down the street. And after 700, 800 repetitions, which I can easily do, one person can do in a month, you'll see he'll have it pretty good. He'll always want to come to this target, and he'll never know whether there's a treat or not. So he's looking away from me now. Come. Good. He comes up, his little nose touches it, it opens, he gets the treat. But even now, it's empty. He doesn't know it's empty. Let me create a distraction. Empty. Come. He doesn't know. Good. And if I could pet him, I would, and make a big deal out of it. And he barely misses it later on. It's way too soon to phase out the treats, but it's just to illustrate how quickly it can start working. Also, you notice I back away every time. When you back away, the dog is drawn to you like a magnet. When you stand still, it's not half as good. And when you move towards the dog, they're going to run away. So body language is a huge part of dog training, and that's one of the basic moves. Come. You back away, and he'll come wherever you go. Can't help himself. Good. If there's a payoff at the end, he's just going to be already, this dog is so smart, I can tell. It's usually the smart dogs that have the extreme inappropriate behavior, that he's going to be, where have you been all my life? All this stuff is so much fun. He's literally working for you. It's simple work, but you're telling him what to do, and he's doing a new behavior with you and getting paid for it, and it gives him a purpose. And also it turns you into a relevant being in his life instead of just being an object, his source of love and food that he guards. Now he's working for you, doing what you tell him to do. He's getting paid for it in a very specific way. And I have to say, and I'll say a number of times, it's all about the details. It's not just about, oh, give your dog a treat and teach your dog to come. It's about the details, backing away, saying good at the moment you give him the treat, not good and then the treat, or the other way around. See that? Distraction, bicycle rider, come. Call him away from good, any distraction. He looks away to go, oh, what's that? Call him away. Don't ever miss an opportunity to call him away from distraction. It also just makes you super important in his life. That's why the come command is it's so easy to teach if you do it the right way. Backing away is super important. Also, never repeat a command. It's obvious that we're trying to develop an appropriate pattern of behavior here, and it's all about practicing that pattern from day one. And this is like minute one. We just met him. You do it the same way every time, and pretty soon he doesn't remember ever doing it differently, and that becomes what he does. So you practice the pattern the same way every time, and everybody wants their dog to do it the first time you tell them. So this is so much about what the human does, and it's always so much about what the human doesn't do, which is you never repeat a command. Because if you say come twice or 3 times, also you don't have to say his name because he knows you're talking to him. Less is more. Less talking, you get more out of the dog. And you practice that same pattern, he's always going to come the first time. Unless it's a dire emergency, he got out of the house, he's running into the street, whatever it is, in which case, even in a week or two of this, he'll probably come back to you if you do it off leash. Don't practice off leash until he's always come to you a bunch of times, like for weeks, and you practiced in really difficult situations and he never makes a mistake. Off-leash training is really that. It means that you don't need a leash anymore because he never makes a mistake, and you've practiced carefully in real high-level stress situations, so you know he's good to go. Very few people have off-leash training. They may think they do, but then for some reason, a year later, the dog sees a squirrel across the street, runs across the street, gets hit by a car, and ignores come. So they never really had anything. So the only way to have off-leash is practice in those situations. You identify what's the number one trigger the dog has. It's a squirrel, or it's the guy and the kid on the skateboard, or the little kids, the 5-year-old kids running around. You have to practice with that on leash, because when I say come, if he ignores me, good, I can gently but firmly reinforce it with the leash, which would be tapping and releasing, tapping and releasing, tapping and releasing, not dragging him around. I'm not having a problem with him, but in case he ignored you, it's tap and release, tap and release, tap and release, back away, good. Even if you have to do that and sort of, in a way, force him to come to you, dragging him in like you're reeling in a big fish or something is not the way to do it. You're forcing him to come to you. You notice that when I back away, I show him the target, and I tap and release as I'm backing away. He chooses to come to me because of how I'm handling him. So there's never any forcing. It's all about how you do it that makes him want to do it himself. So much of this, most of this is about teaching him to do these things in a way where he actually is making the choice to do it on his own. We're just giving him some really good little hints, you know. Like we have somebody coming, show this person coming at us. So so look at this. So that doesn't matter. Look, he saw her, good. He's like, he's so smart. He saw her, he turns back to me, he looks up to me, pay me. I gave him a big piece of chicken. When you have moments like that, so you need to be looking for the moments when, before you even say come, he's like, oh, forget about that. Pay me. There's somebody is, pay me. You need to pay him, because that's exactly what we want. We want somebody to come to your house and he runs up to you because there's somebody there, pay me, there's somebody there. So, you know, it's the opposite of what they have now. Now they have him guarding, you know, the house and property, so, from strangers. So there's a lot there, but basically, just to recap, always use the leash in the way you see me using it, never choking up, always keeping it loose, always back away when you call him to come, never repeat the command, and you don't have to say his name. I'm not sure what his name is yet. What is his name?
Pudgy.
Pudgy.
Yeah.
Didn't you call him Captain Pudgy or Professor Pudgy or something before?
No.
Or Royal King Pudgy or something like that?
They named him Pirelli because he was hit by a car.
Like the tire, the Italian tire.
Oh, okay.
And he would not.
Pudgy, but he's not even fat.
No.
Okay.
He was a little chubby.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Eddie Boop's little dog was what he was kind of named
Yeah.
after.
So he knows you're talking to him when you say come or sit or down, and we're going to do that other stuff in a minute. But those are just recapping. Also, call him to this closed hand target. Come, back away, good, say good at the very moment he gets a treat, because later on you'll say good and you won't have a treat and he'll think you got a treat. So just stick with those rules. Practice what I'm practicing here in a new place every day, whether it's on that corner over there instead of here, in front of your house the next day, on your yard the next day, in your backyard the next day. Just practice in a new spot. Call him to come 3, 4, 5 times like you see me here. It's not about spending a lot of time. You want to do short periods of learning, 30 seconds even, 20 seconds. And on a success, which we have, luckily, he was easy to get to know. We've had success every time so far. And don't overdo it. Always quit training while the dog can still do more, because remember that rule, he always remembers how it ended. So if you're going to do like the old-fashioned way, where you force him to do 100 sits a day and it's all this, you know, working out and boot camp stuff, he's going to start to hate to see you coming. So you want him to go around like he can't wait until somebody says come again, and he can't wait to do a few little commands with you every day. You'll see at the end of a month, you'll have so much more, and you spent less time. There's a car parking right there, and look at how he's, now look back at him. Come. Good. Something about a parking car, and he was going to go over there, but I called him away from it. So you could actually, in this neighborhood, it's a pretty quiet neighborhood, but you still have things going on. You could stand around in the shade. He's looking again. Come. If you get good several repetitions out of the same distraction, that's great. If you did this much every day, he'd just get better really quickly. He thinks that somebody arrived and that maybe he knows them. Come, but I'm going to keep doing this. Good. And notice that the leash is always loose. The worst thing to do out here in public is to control, wrap it up, control him, go like this. Some people would tell you to keep the dog close right next to you. Well, that means that you're forcing him with a tight leash, because if he was trained, he'd be staying next to you, right? So no tight leashes. Tension on the leash creates tension in the dog and stress. And come, which can lead to leash aggression, tension on the leash, plus staring at the object of desire, whatever he thinks is happening over there. Come. Good. That can create leash aggression. Now see what's happening. Just really quickly, go over there and then go back to him. Come. Good. So I got like 5 or 6 repetitions out of that one distraction. That was good. And he's thinking, where have you been all my life? Probably. That's what he's probably thinking. So let's give him a rest. One more thing that I need to tell you about distractions out in public. Distance is your friend. Good boy. He turned around from the camera person that changed her position, walked closer. She's right there. He was barking at her, and you missed it because we didn't have the camera on. But then he decided he would turn around and come back and check in with me, and I paid him big time. Good. So I'm paying him not only for the command, but just to pay attention to me all the time. We're establishing a pattern. I can't even touch him yet. I wouldn't try yet because it might be too much too soon. If I do something that spooks him, he'll nip at me or try to bite me, and then we've taken a few steps backwards. So when you're working with a dog like this, less is more. Don't go too far. Don't think, oh, he's doing so good, I'll try this. You can bond really well with a dog without ever touching them. You just hang out with them, do safe things with them, and then later on it's really easy to touch them because they're cool with you. So the thing about distractions is you saw just a couple minutes ago across the street, people got out of a van, it pulled up, he was really interested. I called him away 5 or 6 times from that distraction, and it went pretty well because they were across the street. But if the distraction is closer, they're always worse when it's right on top of you. So when you're practicing with distractions out on the street, if somebody's coming, you have a long straight street, so there's no way to not see them coming 50 yards away, go to the other side, and as they pass by, when you're on the other side, practice calling him to come away from them. If you can't get away from them, find the nearest driveway, like right back here, like a few feet, call them up that person's driveway while they pass by, and then get back on the sidewalk. Don't try to meet them here in this little space. He's not ready for it yet. And so you want to have a bunch of successes with distractions on the street and build up to just getting closer and closer, because it's so much easier when you start practicing with them farther away, and then later on you can do closer and closer and closer. And if you try closer and he can't handle it and he's out of control, you know you went there too soon, so back it up for a week and practice doing a bunch of more recalls farther away where you know the distance he was cool at, and then try it again with something, and gradually you'll just be able to get him closer and closer. Good boy. And that was a really important thing. Distance, the distance that you are in the beginning especially is really important. Don't try it, up close. Unless somebody just appears right in front of you, then you have to. But when you're practicing, make sure that you call him away from distractions that are farther away so that he can have successes. We can practice that pattern of him getting distracted by something and responding to your recall, coming back to you and ignoring them. And then as you go on, he'll get better at that, and you can do it closer later on. Okay, so let's cross the street now. Go back closer to the homestead. And I'm coming out with my dog, so stand with your back to that little hedge there, okay? Right behind you there. And then I'm going to talk and walk over there. We're coming out of the house. I'm playing the part of the owner now, and the actual owners are playing the part of the visitors. But this is how you're going to do it. You come out of the house, and we're doing what they need to practice for a while, which is doing this with people he already knows. Come. So, and he's decided that he's very interested in the camera person, so that's why you see him going that way.
Don't back up.
Come. And since I just met him, and I know that he's skittish and doesn't want to be touched by even his owners sometimes, and certainly not a stranger, we're going to do like an abbreviated kind of greeting routine where you see on my videos on YouTube where I'm sit, he waits, I step over to the people, I give them treats, he's waiting in a sit stay, I walk back there, they have treats, and all you do is he comes over and you allow him to take it out of your hand, okay? Both of you go, when he comes over, you're both down there, okay? Go say hi, you guys get down there, he gets treats from the new people, nobody touches him, he gets the treats, come, I say come. Good. And when you guys practice this with each other or with people that he knows, if there is anybody else, just do it 3 times. Okay. It's so easy, it'll take you all of like a minute and a half. Make sure you give them everything you have, okay? So you got the treat, they got the treats, go say hi, and notice how as soon as he takes the treats from them, he's getting full. I say, come. So it takes all the nervousness out of missing meeting the new people, and you start introducing this way. We're just going to do 2 because he's starting to get full. Two repetitions of that. So if he starts anticipating, oh, there's new people and this is the game I play with new people, I love new people, you cut back on his food on those days that people come over and you feed him after. And he's extra hungry, so he gets a special treat from them. He starts to develop a different association with this situation. You pick a spot where good things happen, because dogs do associate behavior with a location, a very specific location. So this would be a great place to do the greeting routine. And even when you plug in a new person that he hasn't met, one of you will stand next to them. But the person has a treat, you don't need a treat because he already knows you, obviously. And then you start doing it with new people, do it in the same spot, and it's already that spot because we've done it here. So you've got treats still in your hands, and the way, like if I'm you and you're the visitor, okay, you're going to go in first now. You've left the door unlocked. And so you go in first. I'm going to follow you because we don't want, the dog's not going to want strangers following right behind him. You guys already have treats. And so when we go in the house, we're going to go, I haven't been in your house yet, but go to, if you have to walk a little further past the front door, go to a space where you can both turn around and stand next to each other, just like we did out on the driveway. And Ingrid, keep filming. Okay. Oh, good. Nice open space. Perfect. So stand there together. You're the visitors. Go say hi. So he meets the people in the living room. They came in first. Come. Good. And I would say, he's getting full. There's no chicken. I would say that the first few people you do this with, it's just one nice send over with a treat, and then you take him back. You always want to end while he's doing well. If you do too much, you'll end on a mistake and you'll blow the whole day and you'll lose ground. So less is more. If you see that he's losing his appetite like he is in this very first time, we've just been working with him for about a half an hour now, and you just want to create a good impression, even if it's just a short one like this, it's still good. The things about this are that the thing that sets a dog off when people come in the house is that they're in their realm, they're in a closed-in space, plus it's their space that they perceive as this is the center of their real place with their group of people. People come through the entrance right away. It makes a dog protective. But if we're following them, they're already in here. He's coming in when they're already in there. Because dogs behave situationally, he won't know how to act because he's never had that situation happen before. He's never been aggressive when he's coming in and the strangers are already in here, and therefore it's a quick way to create a new pattern of behavior because he's off balance and doesn't know what to do, and we show him literally, this is how you will be with people in the house now, because they have good things for you, and it was a great experience. And now you're going to go in your room because right now he can't handle a lot of time with new people in the house. If we let him stay out like this, eventually he'd start growling because he's not ready to just be, here for a long period of time. But each time that you do this, you send him over a few extra times. Maybe you hang out and he chooses to go over to you. Let's pretend you're and that's a piece of chicken. Just give it to him. He's going to come over to you, and then you just give him treats. Give him the other one too. Good. And then you say, come, always calling him away from those people. Good. So I would recommend doing it this way. Short periods of time. Don't do anything for too long. He's barking at the camera lady. For the first time, we've already done it for too long. But, and he's I can tell he's a little bit weird with me because he took chicken from them, but not from me, because in his mind, I don't belong here. I just met him. So you can see you have these subtle little hints that you know that, okay, he's starting to maybe get apprehensive. It's time to end this whole thing, put him away in the back room with his favorite bone to chew on, let him out when the visitors leave. But do this every time, even just a little bit every time, end on a success, don't do too much, and you'll see over time, it gets a lot easier to handle with strangers in the house. buddy. Try to calm him down a little bit. Don't do anything, just hang out and just... Because I want to get this leash on him, and I want to kind of try to put him in the right state of mind before I open the door. And you got to take your time for that. Good boy. So what I'm going to do is put my hand through this, and then I'm just going to draw it over his head as he takes it. Good boy. Oh, there you go, bud. There you go. Good boy. So if he already has a leash on, we already had an opportunity to do it, but you have to, when you close the door, you have to have this leash hanging out. So and it's there's plenty of leash here, so just so that he has a lot of slack in there, leave this part hanging out, and then you can just, hold on bud, you have it, you open the door and you have it, so so that whole problem is solved.
Okay.
But this has to hang out on the outside.
So like I said, when he's in his crate, he doesn't show us that behavior because he wants to go out of the crate.
Yeah.
But when he is in his egg pen and he snarls at us, there is nothing in the world that could get him out of his egg pen.
Well, you have to do what I just did, and X-Pen has a gate like that. You see what I just did? He was snarling, acting nuts, and so you see what I did, and he stopped, and then I opened the door and I slipped that over his head. You can't just do what you did in the crate with the X-Pen, and he already has a leash on, so you don't have an issue then. Right? Yeah. So you already have you have the leash. You leave the leash and just some crappy leash like this that you don't care about, so that you don't have to touch the dog and touch his collar and all that. Therefore, all you have to do, and remember what I did at the crate, is come in first thing in the morning. Good morning, sunshine. Have a treat. Good. You have this, or it's in there somewhere, so you just have a stick with a hook that you hook it and pull it up here so you have it, right? So you have it, and then it's like this, and you go, hey buddy, come on, morning time, treats for you. Here, big piece of chicken because you're about to lose it, I can tell. Okay, let's go. Come on, bud. Yeah, and bite your dad's feet. That's what I would do, and it's going to get way better because he's just going to start thinking, morning is treat time. She comes in, good morning, treat, treat, treat. Get the leash. Come on, buddy, let's go. There's no snarling because you beat him to the punch. That is true. You have to make the first step. So don't come in here and wait for him to growl and identify. Think about each thing you did before he growled. Don't do that because you're triggering this behavior. I'm a new person. I do different stuff. We didn't see any of it.
No, because he doesn't do it during the daytime.
It's because I haven't created a pattern of I do it and then he does it every morning, weeks and months on end. I did the opposite of what you did. It didn't trigger his stuff, it triggers appropriate behavior. So if you do what I've been doing, which is you come through there, you're loaded with the chicken, have different things. You can get lamb treats, he loved the lamb treats, that's dog food. Cheese, whatever, just mix it up, you know, and come in here, treat. So he's there where he would growl. You go in with your stick, you hook this. Come on, buddy, going for a walk. Good boy, treats for everybody. Good, yay. Okay, let's go outside. He's gonna, Mr. Positive, Mr. Happy. You're gonna have, it's gonna get better and better. And every morning you walk in, he's like, hi, where's my treat? That gets rid of the growling thing. Like I've said before out there, you have to do things differently to create a new association with that situation. Don't do what you did before. Do the opposite. And this works with him.